Hello and welcome to Psychology School. Today I am going to discuss the next topic of Chapter 2, Self and Personality. So I would like to tell you one interesting thing, that these personality theories are very interesting, and by understanding them you can understand and can know many things about your personality as well as the personality of other person. So our next topic is trait approaches. But before starting it, I will tell you the correct answers of questions of previous video class. So let's quickly have a look to the correct answers. The first answer is, a type is simply a class of individuals said to share a common collection of characteristics. The second answer is, traits are stable and persistent way of behaving. The third answer is Hippocrates, and the fourth answer is Charak Samhita. The answers of fifth question are Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The sixth answer is Sheldon, and the answers of seventh question are introvert and extroverts. The answer of last question are Friedman and Rosenman. Now moving on to the next topic, that is trait approaches. Now as you have already read about traits, so traits are stable and persistent way of behaving, and this trait approach mainly focuses on the description of the personality traits, or it is the characterization of basic components or building blocks of personality. So here building block means traits. So these approaches makes use of the personality traits for identifying and describing personality of an individual. Now, in our everyday life, there are many examples related to trait approach. Let's take an example. If we come to know that a person is hardworking, so we will assume that the person will try his or her best efforts to do any work, and also he or she will complete his or her work in time and always be ready to face the situations effectively. Now, trait approach tries to identify the primary or main characteristics of people. So, we can conclude that traits are relatively enduring attribute or quality on which one person differs from the another. They are stable over time, they are consistent across situations, and they vary in both quality and quantity. It means their strengths and combinations vary across individuals that led to individual differences in personality. Now moving on to some important theories based on trait approaches. So first theory is Allport's trait theory. Now Gordon Allport was the first personality theorist who adopted trait approach, and according to Allport, personality traits are the basic units or components of the structure of personality. And he proposed in his theory that there are a number of traits which are dynamic, and these traits determine or influence individuals' behavior, and as a result individual behaves with similar plans to different situations. Now for deciding the number of personality traits of human personality, Allport analyzed the words in the English language, and he classified into three main types of traits. The first one is cardinal traits, second is central traits, and the third are secondary traits. Now moving on to the explanation of these traits. So cardinal traits are the most active and dominant traits of one's personality. They are very small in number, as one or two, but they are enough to color the personality according to their characteristics. Now let's understand with the help of an example. If one has a sense of humor as a cardinal trait in one's personality, so this trait may color a person's personality in such a way so that he or she may be identified or known through his or her behavior in most of the occasions, and a person will be dominated by the sense of humor at all times. So the second category is central trait. Now central traits are less dominant or less pervasive, but still very important characteristics. They are the general characteristics that form the basic foundations of personality, and these are frequently used for identifying and describing one's personality. So usually 7 or 8 central traits are enough for knowing and describing one's personality. Now examples of central traits include such as intelligent, shy, honesty, kindness, rigidity, anxious, warm, etc. Now the third kind of traits are secondary traits. Secondary traits are least generalized characteristics of a person. So they play a secondary or insignificant role in the identification and description of one's personality. They are not so essential part of one's personality. And these traits are related to attitudes or preferences. They appear only in certain situations. Examples of secondary traits can be getting anxious when speaking to a group, or impatient while walking in a line, or some food preferences or liking for Western clothes. So according to Allport, the way a person reacts to a situation is because of his or her traits, and any variation in these traits would create a different response to the same situation. Now coming on to the another theory, which is given by Raymond Cattell. Cattell also viewed personality as the integration of traits, and he gave the concept that there is a common structure on which people differ from each other. He tried to identify the primary traits from the collection of descriptive words found in English language, and by using a statistical technique called factor analysis, he found 16 primary factors or traits. So he classified traits into two types: surface traits and source traits. So as you can see in this table, source traits are the traits or organization of qualities at a deeper level. They are stable and cannot be directly observed, since they indirectly determine or influence overt or observable behavior. And they are also called building blocks of personality, which are consistent. Whereas surface traits are the qualities of one's behavior. They are observable directly in behavior or any action. They are less consistent and are determined or influenced by the source traits. So these traits are at surface level of personality. Let's take an example that the feeling of insecurity is a source trait, and it can't be directly observed, but it may express itself through surface traits such as general restlessness, fearfulness, or shyness. Now Cattell developed 16 PF or personality factor questionnaire to assess the personality, and this test is widely used among psychologists. Now coming on to the another theory developed by Eysenck. H.J. Eysenck developed the trait theory of personality and characterized personality into two broad dimensions. So these dimensions are characterized by specific traits. Now let's understand these two dimensions. The first dimension is neuroticism versus emotional stability. So this dimension refers to the degree to which people have self-control and control over their feelings and emotions. At one side, there is neuroticism. Neuroticism is characterized by anxiety. People who are neurotic, they are anxious, moody, restless, upset, and very emotional. They lose self-control very easily. On the other extreme, we have emotional stability. So people on this side, they are calm and relaxed, they have self-control, and they are emotionally constant. The second dimension is extraversion versus introversion. So this dimension refers to the degree to which people are socially outgoing or socially withdrawn. At one side, people who lie on extraversion. They are social, outgoing, active and impulsive. Their attention is always focused on the environment and the other people. Whereas people who lie at introversion, they are quiet, reserved, cautious, very passive, and their attention is directed towards inner experiences. So now moving on to the third dimension, it was also developed by Eysenck in his later work. And this dimension is psychoticism versus sociability. So people high on this trait tends to be hostile, antisocial, manipulative, and they have a difficulty in facing reality. Whereas people high on sociability, they are opposite to them. Now Eysenck developed EPQ or the Eysenck Personality Questionnaire to test the dimensions of personality, and this test is also used for personality assessment. Now moving on to the next theory, which is 5-factor model of personality. Paul Costa and Robert McRae have developed this model, which includes a set of 5 factors. And these 5 factors or dimensions are also called big 5 factors. So these dimensions are extraversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, neuroticism, and consciousness. Now talking about the dimensions, the first dimension is openness to experience. So people who are high on this factor, they are imaginative and curious, they are open to new ideas, and are interested in culture, philosophy, and art. Next factor is extraversion. So people who are high on this factor are sociable, talkative, adventurous, active, and outgoing. Whereas people who are low on this factor are reserved and shy. The third dimension is agreeableness. People high on this dimension are good-natured. They are cooperative and friendly. They are likable and nurturing. Whereas on the opposite side, there are people who are hostile and self-centered. Now, the next dimension is neuroticism. People high on this dimension are emotionally unstable. They are anxious, worried, and hypertensive. On the other side, people who are low on this dimension are well adjusted and they are calm in nature. The next dimension or the last dimension is consciousness. People who are high on this factor are responsible. They are hardworking, self-controlled, achievement-oriented, whereas on the other side, people are impulsive. So this was the most promising approach of personality, and it is very useful in understanding the personality of people in different cultures. So with this, we have finished with the major trait approaches which are very popular and useful in understanding the personality of individuals. Now, I have given some sample questions related to type and trait approaches. You can answer these questions in the comment box, and answers of these questions will be provided in the next video class. So thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, and keep learning.